All right, guys, welcome in. Welcome in. It's the OutSpoken or Sportscast here, brought to you by the OutSpoken Network. I butchered it again, guys. How are you guys doing? It's been a while. It's been a while. It's been too long.
Howdy.
It's been too long,
It's been way
way
too
too long.
long. All right, guys. Well, obviously, we're on to talk about. We got quite a bit to talk about. We got the NFL draft that took place over this weekend. We've got the playoffs for hockey and NBA, and then baseball has started as well. So we got a lot of sports on at the same time. Um, the NFL draft. We had some interesting picks here. We'll go over the top 10 to 15 picks, and then we'll discuss those picks, um, and then we'll talk about our own teams. So, well, everybody knew who was going number one. I don't think we really had to discuss it. I mean, no one had a different number one pick. Caleb Williams goes number one to the Chicago Bears. I don't know how you guys feel about Caleb Williams. I hope, being a Packers fan, that he is an absolute bust. I think his ability is pretty good. I just don't know if he's there, if he's going to put the work in, and the mental toughness is there for the NFL. Um, I've kind of gone. I've kind of flip flopped on him. I was thinking a bust, but I don't know. I think he's going to pan out well for the Chicago Bears. Unfortunately, how do you guys feel about Caleb Williams?
I mean, when it comes to NFL drafts and it comes to first round picks, I mean, they don't really. They're kind of, what are they batting, like a
Yeah, they're not very good at
like
first round picks.
I mean, oh for what now? So I mean, it doesn't always pan out. And so it's we'll see. Um, he kind of acted a little strange. With kind of, I think Craig and I hit on this maybe a few episodes back, but just the fact that he wants stock options and what is it,
Ownership of the
ownership
team.
piece of the team that he's going to be on, and just weird stuff before he even snapped the ball in the NFL. Kind of a problem. Um, the one thing I just, does he have the ability to, the skill set? I do. I think. I mean, obviously, yes, but does he have the mental stability to really kind of be there in the spotlight and make it to that level? I don't know. I mean, he kind of broke down at one point during the season when he was getting demolished. That's not really a great character trait. I think you want to see someone kind of just hunker down and figure it out, so it is interesting, but who are they going to go with? It would have been interesting if they didn't go with him, but it would have made things
It would
way
have
interesting.
shocked the world, I think.
I mean,
Craig?
trait wise, I mean, he can make all the throws. He can, um, kind of read the defenses. But the biggest jump in sports is from college football to the NFL.
Yeah.
The speed, the power, the what these guys bring to the table, they haven't seen anything like it. And when you put him in front of top the top teams, the teams that were ranked, he didn't have he never played well. When he played a bowl game, when he played a big conference game, when he played the team that the rival team, he just didn't have the knockout numbers. Um, my biggest red flag with him is work ethic. It's not going to be he's not going to be the first guy in the door, the last one out, going and meeting these receivers and taking them out and working on the side before OTAs, before training camp, learning the playbook. Is he going to put all that effort in? And I just don't think he is. And I
Yeah.
think you're going to see a huge lag. Like, does he eventually get there? Maybe. But I don't think right away. I don't think he's gonna come out here and be like C.J. Stroud and put the team on their back and go from 2 wins to a playoff team. I don't think he does that. I've never thought he was going to do that. The guy is more about money. He's more about fame and putting my name on cereal boxes and getting the investment deals and the banking deals and the TV commercials. He's more about fame and fortune than he is about X's and O's and playing football. That's just my take on it.
Maybe he'll eventually go to Dallas.
Well,
I'm kidding.
The new Trey Lance. No, if you watch, he can make every throw. He runs out of the pocket. He competent him to Mahomes the way he throws football. I just don't know.
That's a stretch.
I just don't know if the other part of it's there. The hard work, the dedication, the first in, last out type mentality that you have to have when you make a jump to the NFL. So
and I'll tell you who has that doesn't get talked about. He doesn't have the intangibles that like the throwing deal that he has, but JJ McCarthy has all the rest of that.
Yeah. JJ McCarthy does have that, but it's the arm talent and everything else.
And he can read defenses, but he makes some throws that are like, JJ, what are we doing? What did you see there?
He's better at handing the football off.
Well, that's been the offense I hope the guy in San Diego, I hope he's used to handing off because that's what he's going to do. Because he's got Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh in the deal. So
Derpy's back on with us. He says another draft. Can't wait to see it. For it not to matter, just so the Chiefs can win again. And anything but that, guys. Anything but that. We got to take the Chiefs out, and if they win again, I'm gonna lose my mind. Sorry, Cat. I'm over.
They don't have a lot of competition in that division. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff.
Oh, taking shots.
Hey, we're the only one in the division that beat them last year. So
they got a new quarterback. All right, they got a new quarterback.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
we are the only team in that division that beat them last year.
We'll talk about that in a little bit, Jeff. Here with Bo Nix going to the Denver Broncos, but the next quarterback off the list is Jaden Daniels. Go to Washington, and I think that's a good pick for Washington. This guy can throw the ball. He moves around in the pocket. He's smart with it, though. He's not like RG3 was and getting blasted and ended his career. Jaden Daniels, I think, can turn his franchise around, and I think Washington Commanders just got better. Anybody else go? Somebody talk.
Yeah, I do. I think the Washington Commanders got better. To a degree. I think they still have a ways to go to get there.
It's a start right now.
It's a start, yeah, and I think so. They still have the owner, right? The same owner, the same guy.
No.
Completely
they made
him sell.
They made him sell
the team. They got a new head coach. They got a new owner.
I think they're I think they're headed the right direction. I just think it's going to take time.
It's a solid pick. Last year they had weapons. They have offensive weapons.
But the quarterback.
Who was the quarterback? They had a lot of question marks. Getting rid of the ownership there that never knew how to win. That did everything in the handbook wrong to run a team. They did. Now they get rid of them. Who's the coach, Craig, for the Washington Commanders? Didn't they fired what's his face? They fired him.
They got rid of Rivera, old
Riverboat Ron, who didn't know they could make the playoffs, set their quarterback out, and lost. Like that was laughable. Who they pick up? Oh, it's your freaking defensive coordinator.
Oh yeah, Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn. They pick up Dan Quinn.
So they're not going to be blowing the offense up. They have a ton of talent on that side of the ball. They have some of the top wide receivers in the game, or not some of the top ones, but I mean very talented wide receivers out there. My only fear with Daniels is, does he abandon the progressions and go to his legs before,
Yeah.
rather
Little
than
too
hang in
early.
there. Yeah. Does he abort the mission and take it on his back and run? A lot of these quarterbacks these days, that's what you see.
One read and they're out.
Yeah, one guy check down, I'm out, and they're running, and it's going to get you hurt. It got Anthony Richardson hurt. It got, I mean, these guys are too big, too strong, too fast. You can't just be out there running around. I don't. This guy surprised me because when we're sitting there last year and the Heisman gets announced, I'm like, who is this? Where did you come from? But
Yeah.
he had one of the most offensive. I mean, that offense was averaging 40 a game. I mean, they were just hanging points on everybody. Obviously, they didn't have a defense that could keep people under 40, or else they'd have been winning and in, the playoff and things like that. But reminds me of the season that Patrick Mahomes had. He would put up a ton of yards, ton of points, but Texas Tech couldn't play defense, so they never won any football games. I think he's going to be okay, but I think it's going to be more down the line instead of right away. I think Jaden Daniels makes the bigger impact in 3 or 4 years rather than, because that division's pretty tough. I mean, you got the Eagles, you got Dallas, Giants, they didn't do anything, whatever, they're out. But I mean,
They don't have quarterback.
Yeah, I still, deer in the headlights over there. So yeah, I think probably they're a year or two out from competing from the division. You give them a couple years to learn offenses and learn the schemes and learn the language and everything like that, and read some defenses that he hasn't ever seen before. And yeah, I think he's going to be okay, but not right away.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to take the bumps and bruises. I think we're going to see that. Maybe you want to see the team make a little progression this year. The Washington Commanders, they brought over the offensive coordinator from the Washington Huskies last year with Penix Jr. there, so they had a good year offensively. We'll see if Jaden Daniels can turn it around there. Dan Quinn will focus in on the defense, but it's a good pickup for them. You got Drake May going to North Carolina, or from North Carolina going to the Patriots. Interesting pick. Drake May is the guy that a lot of people thought was going to go to Washington or go to, Washington Commanders. He's got a solid arm. I haven't really watched too much of his game.
That's because there's not a lot to watch.
Yeah, he didn't play in the big teams. He didn't play all that. He can make some good throws. He runs with his legs a little bit. He's able to move around in the pocket. My thing with going to New England is, are they going to surround him with talent? Because if I don't care who you are, if you don't have any talent, if your team's not going to put talent around you, it'd be very hard to win. And I think Drake May is going to need more talent on this team than other quarterbacks might. But he's a decent pick. I don't know. It's either franchise quarterback later in years from now. I'm not sure.
I think people were talking about, was this toss up, is it going to be, is the right choice, these other quarterbacks, Drake May, like I know Drake May was tied to a bunch of different teams. So it was kind of interesting to see where he was going to go. But everybody was so focused on Caleb Williams. It was like a lot of these other guys just kind of got overshadowed a little bit, and then they weren't really looked at a whole lot. I mean, they were a little bit towards the end, I think, because people realized, hey, there's other quarterbacks in this draft that are actually pretty decent. And so, I mean, we'll see what Drake May will turn into. I mean, New England is they're kind of a ways away. They kind of had to reset a lot. Now they don't have their coach. It would have been interesting to see Drake May under a Bill Belichick system and see maybe what. No,
it wouldn't, because he hated him. He hated it. He eviscerated him on ESPN when they drafted him.
Oh wow.
He said he doesn't have this. He throws bad shots. He takes bad reads. I mean, he eviscerated him. I mean,
Okay.
there's no way they pick him if Belichick's still
They're-
in town. By the way he talked on deal.
Wow.
I forgot who it was, but they said Drake May is the quarterback you draft if you want to lose your job.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's not a lot of hope.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of guys
To me, this is Zach
backing him
Wilson.
up.
This is
I can see that.
he had a ton of really good college tape, but there wasn't a lot of it.
Yeah.
And he never played the big name college schools because he played
Yeah.
for Duke. And so he
Yeah.
looked really good with the talent he was against. But when you go and put him in the NFL, does he put the time? Does he put the effort? Does he have the talent and the skill set to play up against the big kids? And I think he does, but I think he's in the wrong spot. I think he needed he needed to be behind somebody for a couple of years and learn and throw and do all this. He's not your let's fix the problem. He's your let's prep him for a couple of years down the road.
Yeah.
So I think by being in New England and being thrown just like Mac Jones, when you were thrown into the limelight, I don't think it's success. I think they set him up to fail.
No, and I completely agree. I think I'm not going to compare the two, but I think it's a Jordan Love situation or
Yes.
Even an Aaron Rodgers situation. I'm not saying he's Aaron Rodgers, but I'm saying Rodgers sat behind a Hall of Fame quarterback, then came into the league, and Love sat behind a Hall of Fame future Hall of Fame quarterback, and now is starting. So I think, yeah, you're absolutely right there. There are some quarterbacks that can go in it right away, and then there are some quarterbacks that are going to have to sit, and learn.
And the two examples we've given are Green Bay, right? Because of Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, but not a lot of teams do that.
Not anymore.
They don't draft.
That used to be the way it was. That used to be the given how it was done. Now they don't do it anymore.
Yeah, now you bring a guy in, and
unless Atlanta,
especially you bring a guy in like Caleb Williams, number 1 pick. He's expected to change it around. Drake May, I don't know. I think you're exactly right. When you come from LSU, or you come from USC, or you come from an Alabama where you're playing big SEC games, which is kind of like playing in the NFL, I could see them coming straight away. But when you're in North Carolina, Zach Wilson played for BYU. Now they didn't, I don't see much of them coming in. They didn't come in the NFL and take it over by storm. Jordan Love came from BYU as well, but he sat behind Aaron Rodgers. He was able to learn. I think that's the way
he made the throws in practice. He got to see the speed. He got to see the looks. He got to see, Aaron Rodgers standing behind him going, "Don't make that throw." That's
now, and it's hard to have it because you got to first get your amazing quarterback.
Yeah.
And then you have to be able to draft one and say, "Hey, Aaron Rodgers, we just drafted your glove," which there was animosity there with all that. Everyone was going crazy. So it's a lot of finagling.
You got to draft the guy who's 27 years old already and let him sit for 4 years, and he'll be 40 before he plays.
But I think that's more of the path, and that's a whole nother podcast we could talk about. That's more of the path that these guys should take, instead of, "Hey, come fix my franchise," and they have like 3 years.
You put all the pressure, just dump it on this guy and be like, "Well, if you don't do it, you're going to get, blasted in the media for years."
All right, Marvin Harrison Jr. goes to the Arizona Cardinals at number 4, and what a waste of such a great talent. He is the best wide receiver in the draft, hands down, absolute beast, and they draft him into an Arizona team that is far away. I don't like their quarterback in Murray. I'm not a big fan, never have been a big fan of his. And speaking of work ethic, I think Murray is right there with the question marks. This guy's an absolute stud. Yeah. This guy's an absolute stud. There's no way fans are butts about it. The type of guy that, Larry Fitzgerald, type of guy you hold on to. He's going to catch whatever you throw up the ball. He's going to be Mr. Consistency. But I hate that we're going to have to, if we want to watch it, we got to tune in and watch some Arizona football. And I don't like that part of it. At all. I don't know. You guys high on the Cardinals or Kyle Murray. I don't think anybody's.
No, I thought that's a horrible. I was like, that's the worst place he could have gone. Oh no.
Oh, terrible. Joe Alt with a charge. This was an interesting one because of Jim Harbaugh. What were they going to do? Were they going to go offensive weapon here for their quarterback? They lost Keenan Allen to the Bears in the offseason. They go with Joe Alt. And now Joe Alt is an absolute unit.
Monster.
6'8", 315 pounds. No one's getting around him. This guy's an absolute beast. I'm glad to see that they protected their quarterback, but it's a fantastic pick. It's not that sexy pick. It's not that I got an awesome offensive weapon, but you did get a guy to protect your quarterback. Give him more time. Go
protect
Chiefs.
your quarterback and run the football 1,000 times a game.
Yeah, Joe Alt, he's an absolute unit. Cat's on. He said, "Go Chiefs."
You know what's funny about that?
Buddy.
You know what's funny about that tackle, the Joe Alt? People were just like, when they announce, anytime when fans are like, it's not like the wide receiver, it's not a quarterback, it's not, and they hear like a lineman, they're just like, and I'm like, you know how important that is? It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
but
keeps your quarterback standing.
It's never that sexy pick that people are like, yeah. You don't ever see those fans react that way. It's usually like they'll move to the camera to the fans, and the cams are like,
they're like,
I guess so.
To me, and then where he was taken at number 5. Usually when you have number 5, you want a game-changing offensive player or defensive player or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
To me, that says something about Joe Alt. That means he's taking the top 5. That means this guy's.
But a few years ago, this used to be the thing. You look back at 4 or 5 years ago, it used to be the offensive lineman with 1 and 2, or the defensive lineman. I don't know. I think it's a solid pick. I don't think you can go wrong.
I think it's a great pick.
This guy's a day 1 starter, and no one's getting
by. He comes right in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And solidifies that side of the line.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Kat. Every time you say that, I throw up a little bit in my mouth. Whether you go Chiefs. You call it jealousy, whatever you want.
Pick number 6.
Malik Neighbors, wide receiver to go into the Giants, going somewhere where they don't have a quarterback. We wondered what was going to happen. Were they going to take a quarterback? Or are they going to reach on a J.J. McCarthy here? Were they going to reach on a Bo Nix here? Where were they going to go
have a
with
quarterback?
It? And they have nothing. Their quarterback's terrible. Malik Neighbors.
You're not on the Daniel Jones train.
Gosh,
okay.
I would
rather
sarcasm.
That was
I was like,
Giants fans aren't even on
this. Something that I missed.
Yeah.
Jeff jumping on the Danny Dimes train.
Yeah, Danny Dimes.
The invisible sniper train.
Yeah. I don't even know if Giants fans are on the Danny Dimes train.
Eyes wide open like a deer in the headlights.
This guy is a great talent. There's no argument there. It's just another wide receiver to a team that doesn't have a great quarterback, and he's even worse off than Harrison Jr. over there in Arizona. So, yeah, not excited. Not excited for that pick. Maybe the Giants fans are, but until they figure out the quarterback situation, then you didn't really get better with that first round pick. Tennessee gets a J.C. Latham, an offensive tackle in Alabama. Solid pick here. He's going to protect. It's not that sexy pick, but he's going to protect your quarterback. And they're going all in with Will Levis. Good for them to draft somebody and let's go all in with him. They believe in him, so we'll see how that goes. And the head scratching pick of the whole NFL draft is number 8, the Atlanta Falcons, Michael Penix Jr. And now, look, I'm a big Michael Penix Jr. fan. I thought last year he was fantastic. Thought he should have been the MVP or Heisman Trophy winner. This is nothing on Michael Penix. This is everything on Atlanta. You sign Kirk Cousins to a 4-year deal, and then you
$180
draft
million.
$100 million guaranteed.
180, yeah.
And then you draft a quarterback who's the oldest quarterback in coming out of college football this year. Is he sitting for 4 years, and that he'll be close to 30 by the time that happens?
Wow.
Well, that's the thing, because your second contract is where you make your money. Obviously, the rookie contract isn't. It's on the rookie contract, so it's for a reason. So now, how is he going to show his talent to get his big deal when he Jordan loves it and has a year left, and they go, I don't know.
You better hope that that your quarterback Cousins rips his other Achilles and puts you on the field.
Well, and that's what this is. That's what it has to be. It's just an absolute emergency plan to still have something behind him when they think that it's just a fallback plan. That's what it has to be. There's no other explanation as to make a guy sit.
I think Kirk Cousins' contract is now a 2-year deal. It's a 2-year deal now. I mean,
I don't think. I
you
mean,
cut
I
it
guess
needed
with
at
100,
that
I
point.
guess with $100 million guaranteed, I guess there's a loophole to get out of it. That doesn't
They pay him.
put you in
That's
salary
basically
cap.
50 and 50, and then see you later, Kirk.
And basically doesn't put you in salary cap nightmare. But I'd have to go look how it's structured. Is it front loaded? Is it back loaded? If they got it back loaded, there's no way to, unless they move the money to a signing bonus and pay it out.
If they can figure out how to keep this guy healthy, then they got a great quarterback. Because if you go back, 2018, ACL, grade 3 tear.
Yeah.
Then you go down 2 years, 2020, ACL tear, grade 3. Or not grade 3, 2019, 1 year later, shoulder clavicle fracture.
Yeah.
Okay. Then 2020, again, ACL tear, grade 3.
Was it
I
the
think
same
it's the
one?
same
Or was
one.
it the
Yes.
other one?
Retore his right ACL again.
All right.
So that was 2 years later. Then 1 year after that, again, shoulder joint separation. It's like he missed the remainder of the 2021 season. I mean, that's a lengthy
and severe
injury
and not just
there for college.
Not just a hamstring or a calf.
No.
I mean, you're talking done.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
done for a season.
And if he tears that ACL again, he might be done for his career.
Yeah. That's the only thing with Penix. And I remember people were like, oh, yeah, the Broncos talking to Penix. I'm like, I think
he was hobbling around in the national championship game holding everything. I mean, I was like, get him out of the game. You can't win. Like, just get him out. Like,
I was like, I don't know. I mean, that's so crazy. That's so crazy.
Well, that you had the injury history, you had his age. That's why I went, especially taking him in the top 10 this year. I thought maybe he was a second round pick, third round pick kind of thing. But taking him at 8, and look, he had a great year last year. And if he can stay healthy, it's great. But going to a team, and look, last year we gave Atlanta the bonehead pick of the draft when you draft to use your number 1 draft pick on a running back. Now the running back is awesome, but your team's not where it needs to be yet.
You traded up to use a pick on a running back and didn't use him.
Yeah, then you didn't use him.
That's a genius move.
I think this year, I think, look, and Kirk Cousins was the best pickup in my opinion of the free agency. Kirk Cousins is very highly underrated. I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to get better.
He just doesn't play on prime time.
When you could have gone out and got a defensive player, which the team does need defense, it just boggles my mind.
How's their O-line? Could have gotten O-lineman.
No, they're pretty solid that way. But
they could have gone any other route. And that thing, the problem is
go get a receiver.
Right.
I mean,
the other problem too is Penix Jr. Look at his age. Look at the injury history and the age already. Yeah. That is a red flag.
Unless they think he's going to sit and just go to the gym and strengthen everything up and get or they're going to put him in bubble wrap when he goes out there in 4 years. I mean,
unless they have some of the best medical
Yeah,
trainers you could ever imagine in all of sports.
that
I
knows
just
how
don't
to
know what's happening
strengthen.
there.
Yeah, no, yeah, it blew my mind. I mean, I texted Brian immediately. I'm like, please tell me this is a joke. Like, this is no way.
Insane. The Chicago Bears at number 9. They had 2 top 10 picks this year. They go out and get an absolute great wide receiver. I thought he was the second best wide receiver in college football last year. Rome Odunze from Washington. Great wide receiver. You add that with Caleb Williams if he pans out, with him and DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. They have some weapons now in Chicago. And the last team that had 2 top 10 picks was last year, and they turned the franchise around in Houston, which with Stroud and their defensive with Anderson. So we'll see. That's going to be that for Chicago. They're hoping it is, but Rome Odunze is an absolute stud of a wide receiver.
Good luck, Green Bay.
Yeah, good luck, Green Bay. The Minnesota Vikings give their left arm to move up to number 10 here, and they draft J.J. McCarthy. Now, Craig, you being a Michigan fan, tell us about J.J. McCarthy before I piss all over it. Because I don't think he's going to pan out. I don't think he's going to pan out at all. But go ahead.
JJ will be the leader that will make everybody run through the wall. He will make all the throws underneath. The guy you're going to want to watch this year, if anybody plays fantasy football, is TJ Hawkinson, because he loves throwing the ball to a tight end, and he has a stud one over there to do it to. The drawback on JJ is the deep ball. He doesn't exactly throw that well, and Justin Jefferson is like, yeah, that's great. Thanks. I can't do any of that. He got better his senior year. They said there was a possible shoulder injury. That's why he wasn't able to throw the deep ball. He kind of threw it better the last year. You saw in the playoff that he made a couple really good deep throws.
Do you think he starts day one?
Open? Huh?
Do you think he starts day one of this season?
I think he starts day one over Sam Darnold. I mean, Sam Darnold's a career journeyman. I think that's the plan but I don't know. I mean, maybe they're going to do the sit and learn thing, and they take their licks and let Darnold be the quarterback. And I mean, I think that would be best for JJ, is to wait a year. But I just don't think Sam Darnold's the guy to learn under. I mean, he's not a Hall of Fame. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. This guy, Sam Darnold's made his career holding a clipboard and making a ton of money at it, and he's been really good at it. But I think the speed of the game, like I said before, I think the speed of the game is going to get JJ, because he made some throws in Michigan that, if you remember the game against Alabama, the first throw of the game, he throws it and the guy picks it off, and I'm going, JJ, what are you doing? Luckily, the guy's foot was out of bounds and we got the ball back. But yeah, JJ is the nicest kid you ever want to meet. His mental side, his mental game is light years above everybody. He's going to sit at the end zone and he's going to meditate before every game with his shoes sitting on the goal line and his headphones on and deal. And he'll get you through any situation. He knows how to check down. He knows how to read. But there's just the arm talent. He's not top tier arm talent. He's mid-grade arm talent. And
you could get, and honestly, like I look at it like you can get away with that.
Yes, you can
at some point, because if you
know that, if you're not the guy that says I can make that throw and continue to try to make that throw, if you're not Tony Romo and go, I can make that throw and I'm going to make it, then yes, you can get away with that.
Not to compare
them down the field.
Yeah, not to compare them. I'll give you a quarterback that couldn't make that throw downfield constantly, and he was a Hall of Famer, Peyton Manning. Like, that dude could not make long darts downfield. Right, yeah. So with what his strength was his mind.
Yep.
What his strength was reading defenses and setting up audibles and knowing how to attack a defense before they even came at him.
And JJ
So I mean,
McCarthy will be the first one in the door and the last one out. You're going to hear about
Yeah.
him going and taking the guys to the beach and throwing routes, and he'll be at Justin Jefferson's house in the backyard throwing footballs, and that's what you'll hear.
Get worried, Brian. They're coming.
Yeah.
All right. Your division's about to
You're going to be last.
Come on.
This was the biggest reach in this draft. I think JJ McCarthy is not going to turn out to be that great. Sounds like a wonderful person, right? And he has that mentality of I'm going to work hard, but I just don't think it's there with the
decade to beat
NFL.
Ohio State 3 times.
with
Take that.
with the arm talent, I just don't think it's there. People were talking about the Chargers trading Herbert for him. I'm like, get at it. No, John Harbaugh
That was shot
that
down.
much where he
That's-
thinks he's better than Justin Herbert.
Going to trade Herbert, but it wasn't for McCarthy.
It's crazy. No, I just think it's a reach. I think the Minnesota Vikings going to go next season and not really have a quarterback.
No, I mean, I think he needed to go someplace where if you wanted to be, if Atlanta wanted to make that move, it would have been better to take McCarthy and make that move. That would have been perfect.
Sit behind Cousins.
Yes.
Yeah. But him coming in starting day one next year, I don't think it's going to go too well. So I'm not too concerned about it.
I hope just because I like JJ. I hope, but from what I see and what I watch but then again, I didn't think Tom Brady was worth a sneeze at Michigan either. He didn't do anything, and we see how that worked out.
Tom Brady's a whole different.
I cussed Tom Brady's name more times on Saturday afternoon than you can ever imagine.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna jump.
That's why I don't like him, right?
Yeah.
Because I had to watch him for all those years, and he sucked. And then he comes in as the greatest quarterback on the planet Earth. I'm like, where was that for all those years, Tom?
Oh, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Let's jump to number 12. And Jeff has his future quarterback, Bo Nix, in Denver. I think we've pretty much called this. That was going to be your guy. I think Bo Nix is better than JJ McCarthy. He just didn't play for Michigan. He
has more arm talent.
Yeah, his arm talent's better. What do you look forward to in this season with your quarterback?
Well, it was kind of nerve-wracking. Watching some of the picks coming in, it was kind of like, man, I know who they're really going for, and I'm just hoping that guy's still there. Because honestly, at this point, there were like rumors even going into this that they're gonna trade up, they're gonna get rid of Patrick Surtain, and I'm like, what? No, like don't do that. And then it was like, it's like, they're gonna trade down. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then Zach will. No, I don't know about that. And so it was kind of weird.
Zach Wilson train, huh?
Oh, no. So I was just like, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. But as it was coming down, I'm kind of going, all right, I'm seeing. And then as soon as whenever because I start picking up like, okay, what team's going to look for quarterbacks, what aren't. I'm like, the Jets they're not going to. They're waiting for Rodgers to get healthy. So I'm like, okay, what else? And then when I saw the Vikings trade up, I was like, oh man, I was like, please don't. Because I know that's what the Broncos want to get is Bo Nix. So then as soon as they said JJ McCarthy, I was like, phew.
Yeah, I thought he might have gone there, but
no, yeah, there was rumors about that, but I think Sean Payton, he admitted that he made a smoke screen on that JJ McCarthy information. He was, I think, throwing people off a little bit. But everything that I've seen, video analysis about this guy, he is the most Sean Payton quarterback in this entire draft. His awareness, like I've seen film breaking down where his vision, his awareness, his smarts of taking a look at defenses, throwing them off, which is pretty mind-boggling to me when you start to see some of those plays where you're like, he threw that defense off. They didn't even realize it. So this dude, his dad was played in the NFL as a quarterback. Learned from him a lot. I think this guy is he's mature, crazy mature. Married, like dude's been in the league for a long time. I think he set the NCAA record for most starts, 61 in college football, which is pretty nuts. To be able to start pretty much that many games. I mean, it shows you kind of how pretty good you are when you have talent coming in and out all the time. So it's he's an an accurate, safe with the ball. I think the rumor was he doesn't have a deep ball threat. I'm like, that's hard. Sean Payton talked about that afterwards. He said we did break that down. We took that whole era out of there and then reevaluated his game. One of the things I think that Sean Payton got him, the reason that he wanted him was because they did an analysis. Like when they met with him in Eugene, Oregon. So when they went down there, they gave him a plan, like a packet. And they said, tomorrow we'll go over this. So basically, they gave him this packet plan of plays and whatever. Next day, they come back and they're going over it. And he's telling them all this stuff. They threw curveballs in that to see if he caught them. And he did. They wanted to make sure he was actually reading this stuff and not just saying, oh, okay, So this guy's a smart dude. Like, I think this is the one where people were like, oh, they should have waited till round 2. I'm like, he wouldn't have been there round 2. Like, no. I don't believe for 1 second he would have been there round 2. But I agree with a lot of the analysis who are like, he could be ready to go now based off just his experience in the league, based off of the maturity of
That's why he stayed an extra year. That's why he stayed an extra year at Oregon, I think.
Right.
If y'all would have let him go, Atlanta would have drafted up and then drafted him for Penix's backup.
Yeah,
his future, their future quarterback.
So no, I love the pick. I think that it's exactly what I mean. This was Sean Payton 100%, and you could tell right away. They like this guy. This was their. I think Sean Payton afterwards said this was their third guy on the list. Obviously Caleb Williams won, and then the quarterback who went after Caleb Williams was, I think, second on the list. So this was out of those, because those were out of reach, and they knew that. But in terms of quarterbacks that they wanted, that they desperately really wanted, based off of the way Sean Payton runs to run the offense, based off of the way that this guy's style is already, and the way he played in the game in college, this was their third dude that they realistically had a shot at trying to grab. So I think this was an awesome pick. I love it. I like the guy. A lot of the fans are ready to watch this guy play. So.
Yeah, I'm interested to see him play too. He went from Auburn, who played decent there, but you saw him grow up when he went to Oregon. Saw him play better, and he finally got that. I think you finally got your future quarterback, and see what Sean Payton can mold him into. So
I think a blank canvas is perfect for a coach like Sean Payton for a quarterback. Russell Wilson wasn't his guy. These are completely different quarterbacks too in terms of style. You look at Russell Wilson, you look at Bo Nix, they're completely night and day different. They even broke down, there was a YouTube video guy broke down the almost exact play Russell Wilson ran and Bo Nix, a few of them, and they ran them completely different. Russell held on to the ball too long. Bo Nix gets the ball out fast, super quick. So I mean, he's that's why I think Sean Payton likes him a lot too, because it's like bam, bam, and you have a quarterback that can get rid of the ball quick. Guess what? It's in a similar like how Aaron Rodgers is. Aaron Rodgers got the ball out super fast all the time. And you just couldn't. And then there was a guy that eventually we draft. It's later on in the draft, but he was a edge rusher and really good guy. And they were like, you went up against, he go, what was the toughest thing to do? Go up against Bo Nix. He's like, he gets the ball out too fast. Can't get him. So I'm like, geez. It's like, that's awesome.
All right, guys, well, that's your top 10 picks, and 12 here. Let's go through our individual teams. Craig, you want to tell us how you think the Dallas Cowboys did, and kind of maybe a couple picks of theirs that you liked, didn't like?
I mean, I like the first round pick, the tackle, but I think he's kind of a project. He's kind of like Tyler Smith was. I don't know if he can come in and play right away. I mean, he's going to because they don't have anybody. But I don't know if he succeeds right away, or he has the skill set. He just doesn't have the. I think he needs some molding and everything like that. The pick I like the most is the linebacker from Notre Dame. That guy flies around the field and makes tackles and you know so I think they filled a lot with need. I'm concerned with running back because they didn't draft one. Um,
Yeah.
they go get Zeke back supposedly.
That's still
They've got
rumor, right?
no. I mean, it's almost a done deal now. I mean, from what I read last night, is they're just kind of hammering out the money and the. But I mean, it's basically he's back in the building. I would say by Monday or Tuesday it'll be completely official. But I just I feel bad because of how they're putting everything on the shoulders of Prescott and not giving him a whole lot around him, and yet he'll get blamed for it. And so we'll see. I mean, new coaching staff on the defensive side of the football. They've lost a lot of people. They've lost a lot of talent. It'll be interesting to see. They did draft another cornerback. Don't really know a lot about him because he was so late in the deal.
From Wake Forest, Kalen Carson.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, they drafted a wide receiver.
And NFL.com gave you an A-. So they thought you did pretty good.
We got an A- too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to ask you next.
There was no way I would have said B-.
You can go to any site and kind of find different things. I found a site that gave Green Bay a C. This site, NFL.com, gave them a B. I have Broncos on a B-.
Yeah, Pro Football Focus, I think, gave us an A-.
So.
Oh well, that website is trash.
PFF, yeah, no one really likes PFF. Yeah.
Anything that has Chris Collinsworth's name attached to it, I'm out.
The Green Bay got to be. This is kind of an interesting one for me because we had 11 picks, which was awesome. When you have we have a tie for the most picks with us in Arizona, I believe. It wasn't a draft of sexy like stars. It was, this is what we need and this is what we're going to take. We took our first round. Our first draft was Jordan Morgan, Arizona offensive tackle. Well, we need offensive line help. Was it that amazing superstar player? No, but I think Jordan Morgan's going to come in here day one and be able to start on offensive line. I think my favorite pick is the Texas A&M linebacker. He was graded to be the highest linebacker in the draft week, and Edgerrin Cooper. So he also is really good at rushing the quarterback. So I like that. He's versatile. We can move him around. Then we get a running back a little bit later from USC. He's a hard runner. So he's a guy that can catch the ball in the backfield, kind of replace Aaron Jones. So we'll see how we do. I like it. I do like Brian Gutekunst. Some Packer fans hate our general manager, but he's been solid. Last year he hit on 1 billion picks. Look how young our team is. We're the youngest teams in the league, the guys that are producing. So I trust him full-heartedly. And I thought a B grade is probably where we should have been. So I'm excited to going forward here, see what Jordan Love can do. Jeff, we talked about your quarterback already. What are some other maybe draft picks that you like that Denver, or maybe that you didn't like that Denver got?
I kind of like what they've done. I don't have a whole lot of like one of the things that stood out to me was let's see, where is he? I thought I just had him up here. No, Troy Franklin, wide receiver out of Oregon. So that was kind of cool because I was like, okay, that's interesting. He was actually ranked. He was supposed to be. They had even had him that as he would not even fall that far.
Well, it's
They
always
actually
good.
had
It's
him.
always good to have a receiver that the quarterback's been throwing to for years.
Exactly. So I think that you mix that with Sutton. They're a
Worked
rumor
very
that they
well in
might.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, you might. A lot of people are like, okay, well, what are we going to do with Sutton? Like, is Sutton going to be moving or not? I don't know. They want to do. He's kind of like holding out for an extension. I don't know if the Broncos will do it, but he was phenomenal last year. So I mean, that you pair that with Sutton, a good veteran wide receiver with a young wide receiver with your quarterback that's looking to make a name for himself. I think it's a very interesting thing because those are I mean that's a pretty cool. And plus, the veteran wide receiver can also mentor this kid and be that kind of bridge to the NFL in some way, shape, or form. The other guy that really, really, really stood out to me, and he got a lot of flack because he ran the worst 40-yard dash in in like draft history. But I think it's Audric Estime or something. I can't remember if I pronounced that first name right, but Estime. This dude is a running back for Notre Dame. He's like 5'11", 221. This dude is like he's like a tank. He's like a bowling ball, dude.
They say a bowling ball bumped in my head when you
My
said that.
goodness. So I looked back at some of his stuff because I had never heard of this guy before, and I'm like, what is this? So I look and I'm like, gosh, he's huge. So what I think is goal line stances. This guy's built for that. Like just bowling ball through
4th and
people. Like,
inches. Give me the
oh
ball.
man,
I got
just
it, coach.
bowling
Fit
ball
me
through
in.
people, dude. Like that is a perfect thing to pair up with the running backs we have now. So I like that because that was kind of under the radar. There's a few undrafted players that we did grab to kind of help solidify some stuff. But the two that stood out to me was that running back and then the wide receiver from Oregon because you can tell kind of it was an offense heavy. I mean, we had some defensive players, but they were really focused on offense to get the ball rolling.
This whole draft was offensive heavy. They said there wasn't a whole lot of defensive standouts that were flying off the board. So I think it leaned offensive heavy. And I don't think a defensive player was taken until 15 or 16 or something like that.
Yeah,
So
I think so.
it was all offense. So all right, well, that's the NFL draft. We'll cover the top 10 picks. We talked about our teams. Let's head into a little NBA action here as they're in the playoffs. Boston Celtics lead the Miami Heat 2-1. I think they'll probably win out the rest of the series. Heat took game 2 by Boston is the favorite to win in the East, and I think they probably will. You got the Knicks and the 76ers, and this one's kind of interesting because the Knicks have been really good this season. The 76ers have been banged up. They missed Joel Embiid a lot this season, and without him, they don't have a shot of winning. The New York Knicks are up 2-1. We'll see if
They're playing right now.
Yeah, they're playing right now. We'll see if Joel Embiid can stay healthy because without him, the 76ers are a completely different team.
And Jalen Brunson is just
absolute beast over there in New York.
Yeah.
He turned it around over there, so that's good for him. He wasn't that great in Dallas, but sometimes it takes leaving and finding your own thing over there. He's the number one guy.
He's the guy over there now.
Right.
He doesn't have to be in the shadows of Luka, and some guys just need to be the guy, need to be the ball.
You got the Pacers lead the Milwaukee Bucks 2-1. Giannis has been injured.
He's missed all 3 games.
He's missed all 3 games, and without him, they're a completely different team. And one thing that's been surprising with them is they didn't have that Damian Lillard. They added Damian Lillard in the offseason. I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. They haven't meshed well together. They talk about it all the time. Him and Giannis haven't found a rhythm together. They're still third in the East, but they could definitely lose the series if Giannis isn't going to be healthy to play. And the Pacers are very talented. They got a good head coach. I think the Pacers probably pull the upset there, especially if Giannis is out. Orlando Magic and the Cleveland Cavaliers are tied at 2-2. Where did the Magic come from? The 5th seed in the East. Didn't really see them coming up even in the East. Who do you guys got in the Eastern Conference? If you had to say so now, who do you think is going to be
I think
in a
Boston
championship?
I think Boston just has too much talent.
Porzingis has found his rhythm there.
Yeah,
he's been healthy.
Yeah,
they do have a lot of talent.
I'd go with Boston as well.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty self-explanatory there, especially on that side.
I think the Heat could give them a good matchup, but they're missing Butler, so that's a big miss. I think the best team that has a chance of beating them is a healthy 76ers. But I just don't think.
Yeah, I mean,
Embiid's gonna be there.
that would be the yeah.
Well, Pacers too. So Pacers are an interesting team. I was watching some of them the other day, and I was like, "Gosh, that's crazy." They're playing kind of like, I don't know. That's an interesting team.
They're taking the on the attitude of their head coach, the gritty, never stop. I'm going to play till the final whistle. That's it. That's smart. That's the head coach coming through and Rick Carlisle coming through and coming out in the team is what that is.
Yeah, and they've got some talent. They've put some good pieces there too.
Yeah, they've always had some talent.
They're a nitty gritty team.
The guy putting it together and using it right.
Rick Carlisle's still a really good coach. That's crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, my goodness.
Western Conference, you got Oklahoma looking to Oklahoma number one seed Oklahoma Thunder. Pulling it off. They're up 3-0 on the Pelicans. The Pelicans, they're an interesting team too. Zion Williams, when he plays, they're a lot better. They have some good talent. The Oklahoma City Thunder are just there. I mean, after years and years of having number one picks.
They've had 437 first-round picks.
Yeah. And it's finally paying off, finally. So we'll see. I think
mean, they were trading first-round picks because they were like, we can't use them all.
We don't have we have too many. Here you go.
We have too many. Here, you take a couple.
Do I think they go to the championship? No, but it's good. It's good to see.
Utah is going to be the one to beat over in the West. I mean, maybe Dallas.
Denver, you mean?
Oh yeah, Denver. Sorry.
He said Utah. I'm like, wait, what?
The Jazz.
Definitely.
Denver over. Yeah, it's Jokic.
Who's stopping him? It's.
Yeah,
I mean,
highlight package on him last night. He's just throwing the ball over his shoulder, and he's like, got it. Yeah. And then the point guard just throwing up prayers, and they're being answered.
I was hoping they'd sweep LeBron James last night, and he can go cry himself to sleep. That didn't happen, but they're definitely going to win the series. They're up 3-1.
Yeah.
You never know. They could pull a Mavericks.
They're the best team. No, not LeBron James.
I mean, no. I'm just saying. I think that wasn't Dallas up 3-0 against one of the. Or did we get swept by the way back during the Dirk era? We got swept by the Golden State Warriors. Oh my god!
Before they were the Splash Bros.
Talk about a disappointment. The Phoenix Suns about to get swept by Minnesota.
Yep.
They add Kevin Durant in the offseason. The Suns do, and they're going to get swept. They're 6th seed. Talk about a disappointment. I love it. I hate Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Can't stand that guy.
Good.
Dallas Mavericks lead LA Clippers 2-1. Now the Clippers are the 4th seed. We're the 5th seed, so this would be an upset. But I think a lot of people picked the Mavericks to win this series. You got an injured Kawhi Leonard, who he's always injured or misses half the season anyways by sitting out.
Dallas played much better defensively.
Oh,
in game 3.
Gafford,
lock the
him
paint
being
down.
healthy is a
Yeah.
big key.
Huge.
Big key to that.
The block on Paul George was sick.
Oof.
Paul George goes to dunk the ball, and he's like, "Yeah, no, get it out of
See,
here."
my problem with this is that I'm watching it, and then you have people at halftime, Charles Barkley and Shaq. And this was like in game 2. Well, by the end of game 2, they started talking about it too. But at the end of game 2, they were like, "Oh yeah, the Clippers, they lost the game. They just were off." I'm like,
Yeah.
let's not forget how good the defense Dallas had. Really? Like, we're gonna ignore that?
Yeah,
Like
the
the
same
amount of
thing.
steals, the amount of blocks that were being done, like the closeouts that Luka was doing on against Harden, Harden missing shots. Like,
If
what are
if
you talking
anything,
about?
you want to say that, you could say of game 1, Dallas didn't show up. They
No.
scored 8 points in the second quarter.
Yeah.
As a team, they just did not. They could
Horrible.
not buy a bucket that game.
Yeah, the same thing happened last night when Dallas plays Vegas. Dallas comes out in the first period and actually dominates. Should have been up 3 or 4-0. Their goalie stands on their head, and the guys are like, "Well, Vegas had a bad period." Well, maybe it's the 1 seed in the West playing the way they should play, not, well, Vegas just looked terrible.
Yeah.
They need to come out in the second period and look better. What?
See, and I honestly, I think we're starting to see, and especially in the NBA, we're starting to see the end of this super team BS.
Yeah.
Like, I am sick of this, and the
they
fact
go
that
add,
these
they go add Damian Lillard over to Milwaukee, doesn't work. They go add Durant to the Suns, doesn't work. They add Chris Paul to the Warriors, doesn't work. Yeah, it's not.
We're seeing
it's done. It's done.
The end of that. You're seeing the end of the Warriors. It is done now. I still think you need 2. You're gonna go to. It's gonna be like 2 players. You like the Mavericks have Luka and Kyrie, and
but you add you will allow your other utility players that are not big time names to play. You take a look at what happened in the last game with Dallas. They're lobbing it up to Lively, and he's just bam, easy dunks, and I'm like, and then you have what's the other dude? PJ
Walker.
No, I think is it PJ Walker who was getting into fights with Westbrook.
Yeah.
So that guy. I mean, you have these other playmakers, and they've got to step up too. So you can't just go
Washington, my bad.
Or PJ Washington. So you can't just sit there and scratch your head and go, well, if we only had Durant.
Yeah.
No, like you have other players.
Well,
make them better.
Teams, your bench is absolute garbage because you got to afford the guys, and then so it's hoping or prayer. But I hate super team. LeBron James he was the creator of all that crap, the super teams.
Oh yeah,
and
we're
seeing the end.
Boston did that first.
We're seeing the end of it. Thank goodness, because it made basketball unwatchable, is what it did. Because
it was Boston doing it first with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and
Ray Allen.
That was the first idea of something like that, and obviously they went on to take down the Lakers and win a championship. So,
but the super team era needs to end.
Oh yeah, I think it's hilarious. The Suns being taken out by the Timberwolves, I think is hilarious. It's great. I love it.
I will say this too. One thing for when the Dallas Mavericks got Kyrie Irving, I was iffy. This guy's a mental case. You never know if he's going to play. But I think he's really found a rhythm. You watch him play with Luka, and I think he's finally focused on basketball. It seems to be. He's talked about it, only focusing on winning games. Jeff, you sent me the thing the other day, has an interview about him. Just how I'm all about winning. That's all I want to do. But
I think this is a changed player.
Really well together.
I think this is a changed guy. I think we're seeing a different Kyrie Irving. I think that this is not the same dude who's just all about his numbers or getting his, and just I think this is a guy who he's learned to just play as a team, and maybe Luka's taught him that. I think this is a perfect fit for him, and I honestly would be shocked if he did not finish his career there, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe a career. I'm just hoping we're able to keep Lupa here and keep him happy. I think Kyrie's a star. The players that let's talk about the players that they added. Gaffer and
Oh,
Washington. Those two right there have been outstanding for this team. And maybe that's because Mark Cuban did trade away some of his ownership there, and they have some other guys running it. So,
well, and let's also not forget Lively Jr.
yeah,
Goodness, like he stepped. I mean, Gafford went down, and here comes Derek Lively coming out and taking over.
yeah.
I
That
mean,
defensive
blocking
presence
shots
on the
and a
inside is huge.
rookie. Like, and I'm like, this is great. Like, we have this guy for a long time. This is going to be awesome.
All right, Craig, take us away with a little bit of hockey playoffs. We talked about let's start off with the Stars
You want
because
your
they
intro?
are the number one.
Well, I mean,
Not going so well for them, but
game 1 and 2. I mean, 1-goal games. But Um, Vegas is a kind of a kryptonite matchup. Dallas is not. Dallas is the team that wants to get out and run. They're very fast paced. Vegas is more of the I'm going to hit you and grind you, and Dallas does not match up well against that. They didn't. They lost to them last year in the Western Conference Finals. They didn't beat them at all this year. They were 0-5 against them this year. They've got another goaltender. The guy that beat us last year sitting on the bench, and here comes this other guy, and it was his first Stanley Cup playoff game in game 1, and these guys standing on his head. They had 50 shots last night and scored 3 times. I mean, this guy's just making save after save after save. Um, they played better last night. They were much better defensively last night. Again, they give up a shorthanded goal, uh, which you cannot do, especially in the playoffs. The odd man rushes. Ottinger has not looked. He looked great the last month of the season, and he didn't look great in the first 3 games of this series. Um, Monday night will be very important to even it up and not go down 3-1 and make it a 3-game series where you have home ice advantage back. I think Dallas can still win the series, but I always thought it was going to go 6-7, and I think that's a guarantee is probably 7 games, but we'll see if Dallas can make the difference and even it up and then win the one at home. We'll see. So Monday and Wednesday will be very important for Dallas. Like I said, they just don't match up well against them. Even last night when they dominated for a period and a half, Vegas gets 2 quick goals and it ends up being overtime, late into the night overtime. Thank God it was on a Saturday night and not during the week. Colorado and Winnipeg. Winnipeg dominates them all year, and Colorado is up 2-1. They scored 5 goals in the third period the other day. Absolutely just smoking Winnipeg's goalie. Vancouver's up 2-1 on Nashville. That's going to be a absolute down to the wire. I think all these series go deep. I don't think you're going to have like the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference is going to be everybody's going to be advanced, almost immediately and deal. Edmonton and the Kings. Edmonton's up 2-1. I think Edmonton probably is your clear cut in the West of round 1. Like they're going to probably advance faster than anybody. Over in the East, it's just a bunch of total domination by your top seeds. Florida's up 3-1 on Tampa Bay. That goalie is just ridiculous. Boston's up 3-1 on Toronto. I don't think Toronto wins another game. The Rangers are up 3-0 on the Capitals. I don't think the Capitals win a game. And Carolina's up 3-1 on the Islanders. So I think all your top seeds completely advance in the East. I think the Rangers are probably the Rangers or Florida to come back to the Cup, with that Bobovsky. I mean, that goalie is just ridiculous. He made a save the other night. He's completely to the right, and they go and they put the puck behind him, and he just dives across the crease and sticks it out. And I mean, it's one of the greatest saves you'll ever see. That guy just stands on his head. So I think the Western Conference is wide open. I think Dallas's path is while they were the 1 seed and only 1 point away from winning the President's Trophy, the path for them to get to the they don't match up well against Winnipeg or against Winnipeg. They don't match up. They match up better against Colorado, which that would be who they play next if Colorado wins that series. So you really, if you're going to want that to happen, you want Colorado to win and beat Winnipeg. Vancouver and Nashville, they match up okay against. Edmonton, they don't match up well against at all. So you would want them to stumble at some point. But these first 2 series are going to be absolutely brutal for the Dallas Stars. That's just but really, like, top to bottom, I mean, Dallas is the 1 seed at 113 points, and the last seed in Vegas, who had almost 100. I mean, like, top to bottom, like 10 points separated all 8 teams. So I mean, the Western Conference is just so tough, top to bottom. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Hockey is that way, really, in playoffs. Is just get in.
Oh yeah,
anything
absolutely. Anything.
Out of any,
the hot
out of any other
goaltender,
sport,
yes.
that's the best.
The 8 seed beats the 1 seed almost every year. It's you get the hot goaltender and you ride them. A team that didn't play well all year, but they sneak into the playoffs, and then, oh hey, we're standing here at the end. Nobody talked about Florida last year, and then all of a sudden their goaltender gets hot and they win the or go to the cup.
Yeah, that's what you got to love about the playoff hockey is it's really could be anybody's. And
if anybody knows the Vegas Golden Knights, though, better than anybody, it's the Stars head coach, because he used to coach them. So, yeah. I mean, he knows the roster. He knows how to play against them. I have faith in DeBoer. And like I said, at any point in time, Otter can go out there and throw up a 50 block, shutout. So we just got to hope that they play defense in front of them. And the Stars got a couple key injuries in Marchment and Radek Faksa. They didn't play last night because they were injured. I don't know how long. Hockey's real weird because they don't tell you specifics. They tell you it's an upper body or a lower body. Could be a broken leg. It's a lower body injury. So, yeah.
I mean, how crazy would that be if it's not going to happen, but based off the brackets, but if Dallas played Denver and then Dallas played Denver, NBA and then NHL.
Yeah. Funny. All right, gentlemen. Well, I think that about covers it on this episode. We're going to get into what is in our locker, and Craig, why don't you go first? What's in your locker, Craig?
I don't have much going. Probably take Zach out and work on parallel parking for the last time before he goes and wraps up getting his driver's license, and just get ready for another week in the office. That's about all. We watched some baseball. Giants lose a heartbreaker last night in extra innings to the Pirates. They play again at 3:00, so we'll try to get everything wrapped up to watch them. Other than that, not a whole lot going on. Just working. We're going to get ready for a busy couple weeks here with some things going on. And that's about all. How about you guys? Jeff?
So yeah, no, but work, just trying to kind of get ready for the summer. It rained here the other day, like all day, which is kind of nice. So everything's I don't think we're going to be dealing with a lot of those fires and stuff. We're out of a drought, so which is really good. Yeah, just kind of gearing up for summer and work wise. I mean, they're kind of like ending one season and trying to get towards the next season. So it's like a grow season. So like they'll get rid of a bunch of stuff 2024s and then kind of move into 2025. So they're always a year ahead of the actual year. So it's kind of a mad dash here. Gets busy during the week. So um other than that, just nothing too crazy. I do want to address one thing. I had this video that I put up here. Let's see if I can put it up here real quick. But did
Who are you putting
did
on
you
blast?
see this? Did you
I
see
don't-
this? All right, let me
I
let's
don't
see
think
if it
so.
does it correctly or not.
Humanity that has amassed right here in the home of the Detroit Lions, the most Honolulu blue you will see in one spot west of the state of Hawaii. Oh my goodness. Are the fans all ready for the draft tonight? And
That was wild.
Insane, dude.
That was insane. That's the one thing in the draft where I was like, my gosh, that's a lot of people.
They said there were 150,000 fans 2 hours before it started, just sitting out there.
Jeez. That's wild. And now
Troy's
I
gonna
think is it next year it's going to Lambeau.
Lambeau
Yep.
Field, baby.
And Brian's
That's
going.
gonna be cool. Yeah, Craig, pencil me out for vacation.
Yeah.
Woo, let's go.
All right, Brian, what's in your
I
locker,
wish.
bud?
All right. Well, I got a couple things. So I started me and Caleb actually did the other podcast. I started a new podcast called the Dad Bod Podcast. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll put the episode out next month. So we're looking forward to starting that podcast and come check it out. We're not going to live stream it, but we will put it out on the
Podcast services.
Buzzsprout and podcast services and go from there. So looking forward to that, getting that going. It's just a podcast where we could talk about other things other than sports. We'll talk about just life, being fathers, husbands, whatever. We'll talk about. I'll have my other buddies on too and interview them. If they want to talk about their business that they run or whatever. Just a different kind of podcast. I was actually able to go on a podcast about 3 weeks ago now. It's this lady. She has a podcast called The Blind Impact, and basically she basically interviews people and tells her story. My buddy Alex was on it and kind of introduced me to it, and I love the idea of telling stories. So I was able to go on and tell my story to her. And if you want to go listen to that, look up The Blind Impact, and it's called A Daphne Day is what it's titled. If you want to listen to that, this month is going to be extremely busy for me. We got the kids into school stuff, they do the graduation stuff, for elementary, and Darla's going to middle school. We're getting ready for all of that. My brother-in-law's graduating. We're making a trip for that. I got my niece is graduating in college. We got a trip for that. This month is just we got Mother's Day. I'm going to a Ranger game for that. I'm going to Chicago musical that my wife wanted to go to for Mother's Day. So this month is extremely, extremely busy for me. So, and then on top of that, you got work and everything tied into it. But other than that, it'll be an extremely busy month. Hope your guys' month isn't so crazy as hectic as mine's going to be. So,
do you want to include that podcast in the description, like in the kind of like in the show note, how we can put like stuff in the show stuff so that people can find it? Maybe.
Yeah.
The one you went on, I mean. You could do that and the dad
the
and the dad
Blind
bod bod one as well. In case anybody is curious as to where to find those or anything, we'll put a link in there, and then you can find it.
Too, with the Dad Bod podcast, my buddy Caleb, he's in the military, so we have to put a disclaimer out on that. His views are not the military's views and all that crap. I was like, oh, that's weird, but I mean, I get it. But yeah, we're hoping that takes off too, and go from there. We definitely need to get back into the sportscasting on a regular basis, and but that's what's in my locker. So it's gonna be a busy month for me. So, but all right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. Hope you like this episode of the NFL Draft. God bless, and remember,
Keep it outspoken.